Hi, I'm Ethan. I love muzzleloading. I'm at the Rock Island Auction Company today to show you this fantastic pair of Johann Springer percussion target pistols. Competition muzzleloading pistols are some of my favorite aspects of muzzleloading, and this pair I think represents some of the highest quality craftsmanship around target muzzleloading pistols that you'll ever see out there. This highly embellished pair of pistols marked for Johann Springer were likely manufactured shortly after he took over the shop of Mathias Nowotny in Vienna in 1857. Springer had worked for Nowotny for 15 years, and he went on to be the gunmaker for the court of Emperor Franz Josef. The shop continued on after his death in 1875 and remained renowned for their quality of arms. The etched Damascus barrels are rifled and have 2 gold bands set at the muzzles. There are gold scroll patterns and bands at the breech ends. Each pistol is marked 1 and 2, designating their number out of the set. There are also gold numbers set at the end of the barrel tang in the breech. The designs include complex intertwining scrolls, masks, sphinxes, classical figures, and eagles. The figures vary slightly between the 2 pistols. For example, the Sphinx on the first pistol is female, and the Sphinx on the second pistol is male. The stocks have relief carved scrolls with foliate accents and ribbed wrists that are marked Volk on the forends under the barrels. Blank silver escutcheons are inlaid at the top of the wrists. These pistols represent, I think, a beautiful quality of work to them, especially when it comes to European arms making. The engraving, the carving, everything about these pieces is just magnificent. What really catches my eye on here is the lock plate on both pistols. The engraving work is magnificent, and like the description says, the Sphinx on number 1 is female, the Sphinx on number 2 is male, but the work on both is just immaculate. And I think what is even more interesting is although the Sphinxes are different on both, the scroll work is nearly identical on both of these pieces. Especially on the lock plate. The carving as well, and the engraving everywhere else is very similar as well. And when you think about these pieces not being mass produced, being made by hand, that really adds to the quality here of just wow. These are a beautiful pair of pistols. Each of these are .45 caliber. Ooh. And a really light trigger on this pistol here. You just think about it and it's ready to go. I mean, it's something that you really want out of a match target pistol like this. The side plates on both pistols are extremely ornate as well, working out with the edges being the wings of these winged creatures here. I'm not quite sure what to call them, if they're dragons or some kind of mythical bird there. The screw heads on the side plate, as well as the trigger guard and the lock itself, have all been engraved very slightly. The barrel tenon on number 2 is engraved as well. There's a slight chip here that isn't present on number 1, but those are both engraved, and the tenon plate on both sides looks to be etched very slightly in a similar manner as the barrel is itself. On the underside of the pistols, there's some fantastic relief carving at the forend of the stock. Coming down into the trigger guard is wonderfully engraved as well, with several masks, or almost green men you could call them, worked into the scrolls here. Everything about these is just very ornate, but it doesn't feel over the top, I don't think. The carving and the engraving is balanced well by the very slightly figured wood of the stock. It gives you some blank space for your eyes to rest as you kind of move around the piece, going from detail to detail. The pommels are engraved in a similar style as the trigger guard and the lock plate as well. It's very beautiful. The scroll work around the plate lines up with the carving on the handle or the grip itself, making for a really interesting visual appeal there. On the hammer itself, we have that fish head engraving again on this piece. And even back here on the breech and on the tang, it's covered with engraving as well. And in between the adjustable sight and the tang screw here, we have a figure, seems to have some kind of helmet on too, real kind of in the classical style, lining up with the time period for these pistols. Switching now from number 2 to number 1 here, it's neat looking at the subtle differences between them. While visually they're very similar, the carving, engraving, and the scroll work is near identical. It's neat to see where there has been some leniency in that. For instance, the faces here in the barrel tang are a bit different. On number 2, it's a figure facing to the right, and on pistol 1 here, the figure's kind of looking forward or down, almost as if he's looking back at the shooter as he's holding the pistol. The masks set in the front of the adjustable rear sights here are also different. Number 2 looks a little angrier than pistol number 1 does, and the face here just to the left of the nipple is also a little bit different. Both feature a male face, it looks like, with a pair of wings underneath it, almost with a trumpet here as well, I think almost in a cherubesque visual style there. Notably as well, on the lock plate of pistol 1, the name engraved is Wine, and on pistol 2 we have Springer, maybe denoting where Springer was making these, like we can see on the top of the barrel flat here. Overall, a really beautiful pair of pistols. The craftsmanship here is just fantastic, and it's really neat to hold these in my hand. I really hope that you've enjoyed seeing this video and getting an up-close and personal look at these pistols. To see some more great photos of these, check out the Rock Island Auction Company on social media. They're going to have some fantastic high-res pictures and more information about these muzzle loaders and many more as they head into September here. Once again, I'm Ethan. I love muzzleloading. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to learn more about these muzzle loaders and any other muzzle loaders out there, visit ilovemuzzleloading.com. Thank you.